Okay, folks, we're going to get started. Just so everybody knows, we're being filmed, and if you get up to make a presentation, we ask you to speak into the microphone during the presentation. Give us your name and your firm name, and we can then transcribe the minutes should there be a need to. Okay, we're going to start with continuations. I don't expect that the continuers are here, but I will call them and get them out of the way. First continuation is 1625 94 Main Street, awning. Okay, no one here. Second continuation is 16-46 29 South Buckout, railings. Mr. Rush. Okay. We'll get into new matters. After new matters, we will do the informal hearing. I don't expect the new matters are going to take very long. So, first new matter, ARB 16-57 23 Park Road, window. Friedman.
Good evening. My name is Stephen Costa. I'm the engineer for the Friedmans. On this project, it's a installation of a bay window in the rear of the house for bathroom alteration. There's an existing bay window on the first floor, and basically we're going to match it and copy it and bring it up on the second floor. This is a photo of the existing bay window in the rear. We're going to match all the trim and colors and windows, and
Are you going to continue the facade up, or are you going to leave the roof and then create another window?
well, we're removing the roof and we're going to remove the facade, and we're going to, again, match the trim board under the window, similar to what you see there.
So there's nowhere you see this from the road?
No,
Okay.
this is the road here, Park Road. That's in here.
Just want to be sure. Okay, I didn't have any additional questions. Anybody, ladies? No. Do I have a motion to approve the application? Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank
Very
you.
good, thank you, Steve.
Have a good night.
You too.
You want this back?
Steve,
Do you want your drawing?
do you want extra copies? Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Next new matter on the agenda is ARB 16-58, 1 Camden Court. It's a pool.
John Malone, Ferguson Malone, architecture representing Birol and Nirja Patel. This project is for a new swimming pool, and a new swimming pool and a deck. Both are going to be located in the rear yard of the house and are not visible from the street. These,
Even as you drive up the main drive. If you drive up the main drive.
well, up this main drive, no, there's screening along that side, and a fence that would not allow that to be visible. The screening along that fence is going to be improved. Right now, there was an initial screening that probably grown up to a point where there's a space between the fence and the lower branch of the evergreen. So there's some new viburnum and some evergreen shrubs that would fill that space for privacy. But either way, I don't think that would give you a view of the work from this main drive. There's an existing deck there now. The new deck is going to be more of a porch roof. It's going to be waterproof, so there's going to be a living space underneath it. And then the deck detailing that we're showing is a simple deck detail that is, I guess, a little bit classical, painted white. The railing is a white wood railing.
So the railing is new as well?
Railing is new. So the configuration of the deck is different than what's there now. And it's slightly larger, and it has a portion of the deck that is over an existing door to the basement. the stonework and the flat work, there's granite stone walls shown and bluestone caps on the walls and bluestone paving. The coping around the stone is a bluestone coping. That would be Pennsylvania bluestone, which is a kind of a grayer, more consistent one, but there'd be New York bluestone in the rest. We've done that typically in pools where the coping stone is a flame stone that's difficult to get in New York, but the two work together relatively well. Otherwise, there's planting that's not especially extensive for a pool, but the site is already pretty well planted. Looks really extensive.
So, the access to that deck now, is there stairs similar to what you see there?
There are existing stairs, I believe, along the front edge of the deck. So the stairs have been moved to the side so that this area can be open entertaining space.
What's the side material on the porch, on the, under the stairs going up?
This, that's a solid panel. So we're looking at that as like an NGO panel that would be painted white. That's intended to be sort of a storage area underneath the stairs for pool noodles.
Access from the other
Access from the other side. This side is actually going to be planted. There's existing shrubbery there that we're going to maintain. So, you know, that's an area of something like this that would typically be lattice, but in this
Right.
case, to limit the view of the jump that would be set up in there. So it's-
And no work to the doors or windows on that deck?
No. There's an existing bay window that the existing porch comes in at a very strange condition, so we've sort of adjusted the porch to limit that, but it's hard to avoid that strange relationship, and the door to the window.
Does anybody have any other questions on the porch before we go to the pool?
Nope.
Go to the pool, but before you go, the drawing that you were just on, the last drawing, could you go back to that? I want to ask you a question about it.
The site plan.
Yes. At the very, it's equal to the, even to the front of the house, that's shown there, there's just the one piece of fencing that's right in the middle of that area. Yes.
This one? Yeah.
Is that going to stay there, or is it going to be included, you know?
This is going to be a new fence right now.
Okay.
There's fencing that
There's
fell
only
over.
one section right
Oh,
in the
yeah,
middle.
because it rotted, fell over, and I told them not to.
I just thought maybe it was
replace
hiding something, you know, hiding maybe a
No, this,
hydrant or something.
I think the post was, some material that was not rot resistant, and it just rotted at the ground and pushed it, fell over in a storm.
Okay, so let's talk about the pool and the fencing that's going to protect that.
So this would be a new wood fence, which is similar to the design of what's there, but in a rot resistant. As you come around this area, the area that is adjacent to the property, we're showing a ornamental metal fence, which is a hollow aluminum fence that's intended to look like a wrought iron fence. That's sort of typical that we use for pools. And then as we get further back in the site, we're showing chain link, there's an existing chain link pole fence now. Unfortunately, there's no way to avoid this double chain link condition. We reviewed it at the planning board and see if, could we get away with one shared fence? And I guess state code is such that you have to have one fence on your side and one fence on the other. So this is chain link that's screened by additional planting. This, you're not seeing the screening in here, but this piece of chain link is screened by a lot of existing shrubs that aren't shown on here because they're smaller than the diameter of this. And then as we go along this edge, we're replacing the wood fence in the area that's rotted. So this is all ornamental
With the same
wood.
fence, type fence as
Same, similar fence to what's there.
There's an opening right on the corner of the property right there, that you can, maybe from the roadway, you can see right into it. I don't know whether or not that's being addressed, or, I mean, it's gonna be a long way to see before you can actually see the pool area, but,
Right.
but it is
I
open.
hadn't focused on that.
I mean, that's the only place that I was able to see, and
You could see in through this and even in summer. So,
Yeah.
I mean, we could plant that to try to limit the view in that way. I think from from the owner's point of view, they want privacy from this road
That's
as
my
well,
point, because
so,
coming in,
yeah.
most people are not gonna focus on that, because they're gonna be, they're just now turning into that drive, and then, for
Right.
them to catch their eye on that, it'd be rare, I think. It's more for the Patels,
Right, I think we could supplement the planting in there with more of the semi-evergreen.
So the fence that's gonna be on across the front of the house, that's gonna be similar to the fence that's gonna be on the other
This
perimeter?
is all the same design. I think the only existing fence that we're keeping is this portion here, so we're gonna match that design, bring it this way and match that design here. So that, yeah, the public fence will look like.
Where were you that you could see through that corner as soon as you came into the driveway?
I think the, it says to the development.
Right, down there. And that's the only place you can see it, anything on that property is, right on that corner, just, north of the corner. But, it's not a game changer for me, that's for sure. I was just thinking that was a wonderful.
Yeah, we might as well.
Keep the entire backyard.
And what color is the fence?
Fence is a green.
Mhm.
This is, I think, specified as their bronze. It's sort of it's actually a little less visually
I would say.
harsh than the
darker.
black. It's like a little bit better than the black. We've sort of been using that. It sort of blends into foliage better than the black.
Any questions?
I thought the side was actually dark gray, but, I mean, it's a nice looking fence,
Yeah, this.
which it would have to be. It's the entry to the neighborhood, really.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of mature planting that's going to be still on the outside of the fence too, so it should.
Yeah.
It's,
Anything else you think we need to see, John?
I don't think so.
Okay. Any questions from anybody else? No. Do I have a motion to approve the application?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Thank you.
So we're gonna take some stuff back.
You want this?
You want this, right?
John, one more.
No?
Okay. Next new matter is ARB 16-59, 21 Matheson Park, legalization. Cohen? Put it here.
John Malone, Ferguson Malone Architecture,
All right.
representing Barbara and Roger Cohen, Raj Cohen. This application is for the legalization of the fence that was installed a few months ago. It was a dog run, placement of an existing chain link dog run. Large plan to show it. So if you're familiar with the entrance to this property, it's at the end of North Astor, the entrance. So the limit of the work that we're asking for approval for is an existing wood fence that replaced an existing chain link fence, which was the dog run. The fence is a split rail cedar fence with a wire mesh in it. And then there is a new, even though this is a driveway, Edit was treating it as hardscape. It's 2 tire treads of stone, of a stone paver. So I guess both of those things are in front. I think the impact is limited. I think it's probably an improvement relative to what was there. It's a little bit more natural.
Anything in the way of a cut sheet or a brochure give us an idea what that fence is?
Sorry, I should have brought pictures. It's already installed. It's basically a cedar skirt.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was in that area. I would have, been able to see it.
Yeah, I didn't see it.
I figured it was,
So what is it, a cedar?
Cedar split rail fence with 2 gates. It's relatively inoffensive to me right now. It's unweathered and it's not coated, so it'll eventually weather to gray, which will make it less apparent. We're not involved
is that given the appearance of a netting or some sort of,
Yeah, there's a dark wire mesh.
is it plastic coated?
Yeah, plastic coated, but it's like a dark gray.
And what's the height of that above the ground?
It's about 4 foot typical, so it's about here. It's a lazy dog.
When was this installed, Jim?
The weekend of 4th of July, I think it was an improvement that was based on the 4th of July
I
party.
was thinking that I had noticed it, so
Yeah, and was,
that's why.
and, yes.
Yeah, I know what it is. Yeah, obviously.
Ed obviously didn't have any particular issues with it, so as long as he's, and I met with him today, so it would have come up if there was something from a code standpoint wrong with it. So.
Yeah, it's not doing anything from a code perspective, so I don't think there's issues on that.
Any questions?
No, I did not see it, but it sounds like it's appropriate.
Yeah, I think
How
it's-
far is it from the gate?
Trying to see what the scale on this. 20 foot per inch. So it's, probably 150 plus.
Great.
It's, you do catch a glimpse of it, but there's actually some existing
Yep.
cedars along that edge, so you don't really see it. Has more of an impact on their front yard.
Right. Okay. We have a motion to accept the application.
So, moved.
Second.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dogwood?
Yes, it's already installed, so that one's recycled.
Okay. The next matter on the agenda, I have an email from Dave Preston at North River Architecture, and I will read it. I don't, it says, "Dear members, in lieu of an appearance at tonight's meeting, we offer the following updated information for your review regarding the two ARB applications currently open on the refurbishment of the house at 116 Main Street for owner Eileen Fisher. We apologize for this last-minute decision. Steve F. Kosick, down in front of us, general contractor for the project, will be in attendance should a discussion be needed at tonight's meeting. We do plan on attending in 2 weeks to hope to complete both of these items. The first is the second floor front porch railing baluster design. Pursuant to the ARB's request that we look at a little further into possible historical documents regarding the baluster pattern on the front porch, we were unsuccessful in finding any further documentation. It was our understanding that the ARB would give the owner final choice in the design regardless. We have chosen the vertical picket pattern as originally submitted. Discussion at our first meeting on this issue included a suggestion from the board that the St. George's cross pattern in evidence on the first floor of the porch at the sides might be appropriate for the second floor as well. However, before I continue, I would note that that was not the opinion of everybody on the board. However, discussion at our first meeting on here we go. However, documentation is not forthcoming for this idea, and as agreed, since it no longer meets code requirements for safety and measures to simulate the design that are code compliant involve dissimilar materials with difficult weather detailing. We prefer the vertical pattern on visual grounds as well, and in respect to its similarity to the same pattern on the front fence, which is also under application for replacement. Front fence replacement, the other issue. After recent input from the landscape architect, we would like to resubmit our fence application and fence design in time for the next meeting. We apologize for the timing. Sincerely yours, Peter Reynolds, Senior Designer, North River Architecture and Planning, PLLC. The only thing I have to say is when I looked at the drawings, just so you know, I saw the new design on the upper porch, but on the lower porch, they still showed the baluster design, the different design, the original design that was on there. I don't know whether, I assume they're going to be making everything the same.
No, just to restore the lower portion.
But what I'm saying is, are they going to restore what's there, the baluster
correct.
design that's there? So they're going to have two different porch railing designs.
That's where I understand it at this point, yeah.
Okay. All right, well, that's the one they want to,
I think they
Is
should
that
bring
a-
it back.
what's that?
I think they need to bring it back.
The baluster?
Yeah. To show the whole thing.
Yep.
So you're suggesting to create what's on the lower portion of...
Well,
at the top?
however, what they're saying here is that it doesn't meet code.
It doesn't need to meet code, I understand that. So it doesn't come
Well,
here?
it would be a new railing of the top.
So
Are you, you're talking about the lower, Ken?
I think it's
No,
just.
he's talking about the upper rail.
Upper
I
right.
know, but I thought you were talking
No, I'm
about
just-
bringing the other one
But
back, the lower.
my question was,
Yeah.
exactly right, that's what I'm looking at. You look here, you have a different, railing here as you do here.
That's correct. I think it's just to recreate that railing of proportion, not only does it not be told, but to come up with your suggestion of putting the rods and everything, just made it cost prohibitive just to do one section of railing like that. I didn't think that is the way that they wanted to go, so it's just a simpler design, which is, I think, the reason why they're taking their fence design to be more similar to that.
Here's the drawing.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Well, I can't speak to cost, especially given the work.
The design that ARPA came up with, and the owner likes it, and with the research, the suggestion that you guys gave to go look for something different, came up empty-handed. Instead of taking off what's there, we're trying to restore, and then just make something simple and clean looking up top.
Yeah, but this is the crown, the forehead, the hat of this whole piece, which is very elegant and being beautifully restored. That just in some ways seems ordinary compared to what the St. George's piece on the sides. The spider.
I think it's a pretty railing
But
on
just
top.
let me finish up, just a second. So, again, it's the same railing that's on the back porch, which is utilitarian and I understand that. I think I would ask you to consider matching that other railing, or perhaps some more decorative design. It just seems so ordinary. And this is my name, but I talked to my colleagues about it.
The other thing we had said, I seem to recall at the last meeting when we addressed this, is that you were going to look for photographs of how the house was designed originally. And we all agreed that we believe the photographs are in existence. It's just a matter of figuring out where they were, either at the Historical Society or from the prior owner. Do you know where that went? Has there been any
Yeah, that
effort?
was, like Peter's letter said, that they looked into that and couldn't find anything that brought up something that was what we were looking for to go in either way, which way, because I think Heather was here last time, she said that might have not even been the original, the one that we're trying to copy.
Yeah, it says pursuant to the area's request that we look a little further into the possible historical documents regarding the baluster panel on the front porch. We were unsuccessful in finding any further documentation.
I find that very hard to believe. So there's no photograph in existence of...
I didn't look first-handed, I'm just, that's what I was told,
Okay.
and it's hard to say.
That would be one of my concerns before approving it. I'd like to see what it looked like. Maybe we just have to do a little digging ourselves, which I'm happy to do. I'm going to put that as something to ask personally at the Historical Society as well. Okay.
Any other questions? No. Comments, anybody? Okay.
I think it's available. I know we did boards when they were in the house tour of all the details, so I'm sure they're around.
Okay, well, we'll look forward to, if there's anything in the meantime that we come up with, we'll be sure to forward it to Dave, and, we can go from there, and we'll definitely see you in 2 weeks from now.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and the last new matter is ARB 16-61, 4 Butterwood Lane West, windows, Friedman.
Good evening, my name is Mitchell Koch, Mitchell Koch Architects in Hastings. Amy and Brian asked me to represent them here at this proposal, at this ARB meeting. They are proposing to do 2 things. To remove a window and to re-stucco in its place. And as part of that, and this has been driven by their designer, as part of that, we've just really called to patch, to do a good detail so that you create a good drainage plane, and then to repaint the entire area so that it's a decent match, and if there's any difference with the adjacent stuff, at least they'll be bordered by what is dark brown wood trim, which is sort of a half-timber, cedar-esque kind of a thing. They're replacing an existing French door here, or proposing to, which has bright white sort of 15 3x5 Muntin grill with a narrow line Anderson gliding or sliding door, patio door unit, which actually is more in character with the other replacement windows in the house at this time, and not stated on the drawing set, but it's Terratone. That would be the color, that's the color that the other
What's that color?
windows are done.
What's the color?
Terratone. It's a taupe, basically, which actually is a pretty good match. It just kind of lightens up just a touch from that brown half-timbered business.
The window that's directly above that door.
Terratone.
Okay.
And just, I wanted to note that it's a replacement unit. It's going to be within the existing framing. I mean, the existing trim, more importantly.
Instead of swinging doors, it'll be sliding doors. And no.
And obviously a slightly smaller style and rail. But that being said, it's all, as you can see, it's all behind a fence. It's not visible from Broadway really at all.
That was what I tried to do, is find from Broadway whether you can see it or not.
Not so much.
Okay. I think you guys have one question. My one question, anybody? Okay, we have a motion to approve the application.
So moved.
Second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
I think those wrong.
Thank you.
Finally, we get to our informal hearing, ARB 16-62, 30 to 40 South Broadway, Donardo. I do.
Good evening. My name is Glenn Chaveni, principal of GRCH Architecture. We're here for the 30-40 South Broadway site, also known as the Con Stern House. Which is the subject property right here. We came before you the other time and we presented to you the existing building elevation and floor plans and a proposed design at that time, where we were adding an addition onto the top of the one-story wing. And at that time, the board had relayed to us that there was concern about that size, or perhaps any size addition to this existing home. I understand now that the house has been, or I'm not sure if it has been or is now historic.
We deemed it significance. In Irvington, significantly historic property, or a building, I should say.
Contributing, I believe was the word.
Right, but it's not, there's obviously no historical marker on it or anything to that effect, but as far as we're concerned, it's just historically significant to Irvington.
Understood.
Right.
So based on that, had that been the information at the beginning, we would not have made the proposal that we made. So what we are proposing tonight for the McCon Stern House is that we not change the exterior with renovations of any kind to the exterior. We're proposing that the house remain intact. The interior of the home will be renovated for its use of two affordable homes, and the exterior will be repaired as needed for any common rot or siding damage, window damage, any of that, but no additions are proposed.
Okay,
I don't know if Joe wants to speak or if you have any questions.
I would just ask you to take us through what it is, you're doing on this proposed floor plan for the first and second floor. I mean, I'm just a little confused at what I'm looking at.
I also think you are making some mods, you're getting rid of the garage door.
No, that was part,
Do I have the wrong one?
well, that was the original application.
Oh,
That was the original.
Right. So I guess that's my confusion too, because what I'm looking at are raised dormers above the garage.
Right.
that's the
So-
original,
So I wanted to keep it apples to apples. That's what we
Yeah,
proposed to
got
you.
it. All right.
I
Okay.
believe 2 or 3 of you weren't happy with
Yep.
that, so we want to get rid of that. So no, garage door stays a garage, everything stays the same, only the interior, because we have to create 2 separate
Yep.
apartments out
Got
of
it.
it. That's all we're changing.
This is,
Is that here?
this is the old one. We're looking at, in other words, C5
That's the old one.
I don't think we have the new one.
and C4.
I'm not sure we see,
Wait, you're saying-
have you done floor plans for what you plan on doing now?
They're the same floor plans.
Yeah,
Instead of it being a 2-bedroom, it would only be a 1-bedroom.
we're getting rid of,
On the second floor?
we're getting rid of this whole.
Okay.
So we're gonna get rid of that whole second bedroom. We're just gonna get rid of
And
this.
there'll be
just
no
like a
living
1-bedroom.
space in the cellar.
That's it.
So,
This is under the existing,
okay, so we'll need a set of plans.
for interior.
Yeah. If you're making any modifications.
That's just the interior.
Yeah.
So there are no window or door modifications. What about on the garage door?
No, the garage door stays,
Stays the
that
same.
level stays the same.
Everything stays the same.
What we're hoping to do, because how that modification is going to be is not 100% determined.
I see.
But what you're saying is there will be no modification to the structure of that building?
Absolutely not.
No windows, no doors?
Nothing.
Last time, I think the reason why we're confused is last time I also thought you had said that you were going to make some adaptations for maybe heating or cooling, more energy efficient windows. So none of that now comes into play.
No, I don't
Original
think-
windows, original doors, original garage door. And why did you make that decision not to update the windows and doors? That's different from the
Just
act.
to keep everything the same as is, that's all.
Like,
It's not to
but-
change everything.
But but so that we're clear, the direction that we were trying to give before is not that we're not in favor of energy efficient windows and doors. It was that the new addition that you were proposing for bedroom number 2 distorted the character of the original design of the building. New windows and doors, we did not say would be the case. I just want to be clear on
We chose
that.
not to do the extension, we chose not to change anything.
I mean,
So
it's
It's your choice. I just want to make sure that you didn't think that was the direction coming from us.
No, we understand that.
Okay.
So there'll be 2 apartments, right, inside it?
Yes. Left and right.
Oh, off of each of the porches.
Correct.
That's what's
You know,
there now.
there's one will be 2-bedroom, one will be just a 1-bedroom, that's all. We were trying to make them both 2 bedrooms. We can achieve 2 bedrooms, so we'll achieve 1 bedroom, 1 2-bedroom. That's all.
Are the dorms the same size? Are the dormers the same size?
In the front?
Yeah.
Yes.
And are you putting in central air or anything like that?
Not any longer.
Look at the dormers. The windows.
It seems to me that if...
This is just preliminary, just to make sure.
Yeah,
that
no,
we're
and
not
that,
changing.
Okay,
right,
so,
We still have to come back for a whole architectural.
right.
Yeah,
We'll come back for the whole entire project.
So from my
Can I
perspective,
encourage something? Sure. Just to go through this, so that you see the two dormers, how they have two different sets of windows?
Yes.
I would try and make them match.
We could do that in the final.
And I think the screen door and the railing, I have no idea if we have any historic pictures, but if you could do something about that, and then if you,
Screen door?
the screen door, there's a screen door that's like, looks like it's an aluminum door. We're only talking about minor aesthetic changes, since
And
this is.
we're also here so you can see the exterior of the elevation
Mhm.
of the other units.
Yep.
Also.
All right, well, I think we'd have some important input on that. As far as I'm concerned, if the exterior of the building, from an ARB standpoint, if the exterior of the building is not being changed, other than Ken's,
Well, I'm just sort of walking around. This is going to be your front door. It's going to be the part of the community, right? So there's garbage cans that are lined up in the driveway. If you can think of a place where to put them so they don't end up outside, sitting out there. If you can think about landscaping as part of your overall plan.
Well, that's going to be in.
Yeah, I'm just saying, that goes a long way.
The whole site.
It's a house that I think everybody thinks of when they drive into Irvington. It's like one of those, hey, I'm home. It's a gateway home. That's where we saw. So anything that sort of enhances it in terms of landscaping.
I'm sure you're aware that's the way the village sees it, because everything that everybody talks about is that view shed as they come down and up the hill. I don't know who's going to be looking up that way, driving 40 miles an hour down a hill.
You're correct.
That's still.
That's where the conversation's been the entire time.
Yeah.
We understand. We got
Okay,
to get
great.
back to a full landscape plan, everything.
I just think it's worth saying it in this context.
Any other comments on that?
Yeah, actually,
That's all right.
one of the things that
And you've been at all the meetings, so you
Yeah,
see
pretty
what
much.
it's going.
Pretty much. One of the things that I think, and when I read what my charge is, what the ARB is supposed to do, under structure requirements in 9.2 of the village code, it says houses adjacent to each other shall not look alike. Now, I understand this is not 6, mansions like they were proposing on 94 Broadway, but I don't know whether or not you've had any conversations with the planning board as to that issue. Because I understand if you look at, everything that we see here, they're all alike. And they're all situated,
Well, I think that's how they had asked us to do it.
Is that right?
We had replicated something like Richmond Hill. That's what they want us to go by and everything. And they want us to match one color. That was a discussion early on.
But I just want you to, I'm going to read briefly what it is that, when under the ARB 9-2 of the code. As I said, houses adjacent to each other shall not look alike. Minimum variety and appearance shall be achieved by changing in any two of the following: exterior materials, fenestrations, and geometry of structure.
Right. And does that apply to like a multifamily?
That's why I'm asking you whether or not they've brought up the fact that, that may not necessarily apply. I don't know the answer.
Correct.
But at this point, what I see is everything's the same. And I'm not saying it's unattractive, because it's very attractive. I just don't know where, I obviously do my homework and find out where what the village's interpretation of
Right.
these codes
If
are.
you go into Richmond Hill, it's all alike.
I know
You go
that.
into.
But every one of them,
The multifamilies.
I don't know where,
And if you go into, Field Point,
Field Point.
all of, any multifamily areas are all alike.
Field Point's a little bit different. There's some,
The
different
structures are
colors and
different,
different.
structures are different, but the paint colors and whatever is.
So this is a smaller section. So does this fall into multifamily code, not a single family code?
I don't know as the code that I have to adhere to delineates that.
Right.
So I have to do my homework, but at the same time, I'm just kind of throwing this out there to see if the planning board, you're telling me the planning board has pretty much said, we want, this and that.
The majority of their comments have been to add more detailing, more fenestration.
That I understand.
So
I heard that.
that's been, but it's never been, but we want the detailing to be different. They understand there's model types.
Right.
We've shown them the duplex, which is only, roughly close. Well, actually, We did, in the rear, we did do a difference to the two model types, so we call them A and A1 for the moment.
Right.
Because in the back, they are different. So they're not
Here, so you are gonna have one building of threes.
Right.
You're gonna have buildings of twos, which is gonna be, nine buildings.
Most of the buildings, I think.
Correct.
most of them, yes.
Yes. And one of the rear buildings.
That's the one that's facing,
South.
yeah.
The William McCott Stern House, which is gonna be a walkout, so that's gonna be a little different.
Yeah.
But we can look into that for.
Well, I don't want you to do that until I know
Yeah.
that I'm gonna have to
We can
break
look
the chops about it when
Oh,
you
yeah.
guys come in front of us.
So then we'll make sure we have that answer before we come back.
I mean, a lot of the comments we get when we do multifamily is that they'd like it to look, as an individual building, to look like, you know, a big estate home, if it's that big, to look like one home if it's possible.
What? You know, as far as I'm concerned, if your twos, you know, if everything in that two was the same, I wouldn't have an issue with that. I don't think the code would either. But because there are so many twos, you know, they're asking either that the fenestrations be different, the colors be different, or the situation, the way the building is situated on that lot, that not all the front yards are the same, which would be a hassle to you to concern yourself with, because you don't have all that much leeway. So I don't know where to go with that, but I'm just saying that you know, yeah, we both do, actually.
Absolutely.
So, all right.
So for purposes of tonight, you're before us to show us the design for the first time, because we have not seen this design before. So can you just walk me through the design? What is this based on in terms of trying to be historically accurate, to the extent you've tried to achieve that?
The existing
For example.
home and the existing barn on site.
And do you have a photograph or a drawing of the existing barn?
Yeah, we didn't bring that.
Okay, so you're basing this design off of what was there originally?
I do know that that planning asked for these peaks and different architectural issues.
Gables.
Yeah, that I do know. Whether
This
that's
has been planning board driven.
yeah.
And how do you describe this design? What was this?
It's a traditional shingle style of design, has, it's gable, but quite often we've done it as a radius gable. And we've highlighted with strong chimney detailing and with some bracketed one-story metal roofs. So we've created a nice strong break at the horizontal to break down that mass of the elevation. So it's not just a rising element from the street, but it's broken down into the bottom half and the lower half. And we use a great deal of variety of windows and all very traditional windows like transoms and 2/2s. We'll be using a very strong, detailed garage door. So all the materials will be very strong, very traditional in nature. But I think what we've tried to achieve the most is scale, good balance.
And in terms of this design, is there evidence of it in other places in Irvington? Have you seen other examples of this other than the barn you based it upon? Are there other homes, for example, in Irvington? No.
All right, so from a material standpoint, you want to just take us through roofing materials and the siding material?
Well, it'll be a 40-year architectural shingle. And the siding will either be a natural wood siding or a sort of a Maybeck style material, which is more of a, you can get a 20-year dipped or 30-year.
It's split, right? It's a multi-shaped one? The
It's-
Maybeck.
Well, you can either get it in panel or you can get it individual,
Shingles.
but it'll stay true to whatever final color, whether it's going to be the natural shingle look or a color. It'll stay true. We've used it on the water and it does not fade. It's a good product.
It would be very helpful for the board members, because I think I know this material, to show the material. When you come back.
Yeah, when we come back,
Look, I'm gonna be, yeah, I think the key part of all of this is how it's perceived from Broadway and up on the hill. And honestly, I just haven't had a chance to go through this and spend time with it. My concerns, I kind of didn't get to my package, like most people.
It's gonna be so heavily landscaped.
Yeah.
You gotta keep in mind, there's 125 foot off of Broadway and notice
And we're very high up.
this is
It's, there's time, it's not about visibility, it's
Yeah,
just
actually, I'm
about,
hoping
right.
we're not hiding it. I'm not-
Yeah.
I don't want
And
to
then,
hide it.
so can you tell me about that ridge, the height of that ridge in the center? Why is it so high?
What, also, at the same time, I want you to also speak to why the chimneys are the height that they are. Because I know that the planning board, well, I know, but I'm saying the planning board had, had some input, I believe, on that.
Well, somebody had expressed from looking at the rear elevation, they saw the front, it's just an illusion because this is a two-dimensional view, but we did lower.
But if you look at that drawing, and then you look at this drawing, guess what?
Yeah, the ridge, yeah.
They've been dropped.
they've been dropped.
Oh,
Right, yes.
they've been dropped here?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
This is more current than that.
So, I'm just gonna say this, is there a reason that they're not, all, the peaks aren't hitting the top of the ridge?
That's why I want, because I know they came up with the planning board.
No, not that comment. They weren't looking for the peaks. You mean these peaks to this peak?
Yeah.
No, they weren't asking us to do that. They were just asking us to, there was an original elevation that had in the rear, not the front.
Right,
In
okay.
the rear that had.
Specifically the rear that was
So this one,
facing.
this is the one I looked at, and this one has all the peaks hitting the ridge, right? Is the ridge
Just
on
the
the
two
back.
at the end, the others don't. That's just a 3D, from the point perspective, from the ground. They're actually not hitting the ridge, the ones
But
that
I'm just following.
those are, just at the end, not the interior ones.
But that ridge is higher?
Yes. Just the way that, very much the way, well, not this one.
I'm sorry, this me being dumb. So when I lie a straight line, this looks a little bit higher, this one over here and this one over
Well,
here.
that has to be 2 feet higher than the ridge,
What has to be?
the top of that chimney.
Oh, no, that I know, but I look at the ridge line, you know what, it's probably the 3D models a little bit. Then the other part of this was that this, I can see being somewhat shingle style and actually similar to the house down the road, a heavy eave on the ends, but then I look at the other elevations, well, there just seems to be some inconsistencies in the rendering versus the elevation. And I know you're on the move. You've been changing this thing probably hourly, going through it. And then the copper tops just seem so,
Yeah, I agree.
the,
Why the copper top?
Are you talking about these?
yeah.
We're really to
That's
really
this.
connect, to make a connection with this.
Yeah, matches that.
These don't have this, first
I
of all,
think it would be.
they don't have to be copper colored. I'd like
No,
you to
I
say
know.
metal.
No,
but not
I was
copper.
thinking, you know what, I don't know, I have to go back and get my shingle style book out and sort of roll it out, because that's what I always did when I was looking at these things. Could it be clay tile?
Well, it could be
something?
the slate top with the four,
Yeah,
with the four posts, but we were trying to make a connection here,
Uh-huh.
to be honest with you. We have lowered them, they are lower
there's
now.
you know that you've shown it as copper, I'm sure it's gonna patina over time. It might be a really good idea to show it patinaed, because right now it looks, I can't help myself but think of like the old, it feels like an old shiny metal roof. I won't say what brand, but it's something you'd see. I can't remember what it was mine. And there's a sort of just basic question of I think the brick is good. Why go to a stone from the brick on the chimney?
I agree.
Well, we had it all brick in the back here, but we
Yeah.
wanted, we've done this detail before, it looks great in the field, but
Uh-huh.
I'm not,
If you can show, I think
I'm
you
not
need to
gonna
help
fight
me
for it.
help.
It could be all brick.
No, I'm not here to fight. I'm just here to sort of, okay, convince, show me how it looks, what is it? And, I think the brick just feels a little bit more authentic. To Rick's point, I grew up in a house just like one of these, right? Two houses on either side. They were different designs. I mean, they were really, we shared a firewall on one side. It was two different designs, but somehow they melded together. So I'm just thinking it's a little too strong. Like, what's good here in this one, right? A and A1, there's starting to be some difference between them. It's starting to be strong as opposed to what's above on A and A1, where it's the main house. The best thing about the shingle-style houses was there was this sort of strange anomalies that would happen, balance between one side of the house and the other. They were never fully symmetrical, never, right?
Okay.
So here you have the top one is fully symmetrical, And the only one I think of is, right, right. Like the rear has some of that, a little bit of variety in it.
We can break one side, the other, just like we did here, we broke.
Yeah, I noticed that.
So we can do the same thing for the front.
Like the back looks like two different houses. I'm still confused about the roof, but we can get,
Well, the roof, the ridge heights will all be below
I'm gonna
code.
explain to you what the differences are.
Sure.
These are above grade.
Yep.
This one happens to be a 3-story in the rear, so it's shorter.
So which one is this one? This is the one behind that one, yeah.
There's only one of these.
There's only one. Wait, this is the back of it.
I see, got it.
This is the back of it, and that ends up being, that's the front. The front elevation. That's why. So this one is measured 35 feet from the rear.
Got it, yep, I got it.
The front is squashed in front.
But the
That's why
interior units, within the middle of the site, has some fill that's going on. Buildings
To
will
level
be
them out.
Lower as well.
Yep, okay.
These are all gonna be at grade.
But we could definitely treat one and treat the other a little bit different.
It
so
will
that they
probably
have-
go a long way to satisfying, our
Then we
artists.
get across that situation.
That's my point, yeah.
And it's done. It's fine. I mean, I have no problem with that. We can almost do where, if the rear, we'll change the gable.
No, we'll just create, A or the A1 is gonna have a modified front. That's what's gonna happen.
What do you want for the shingles? What are you thinking about for the shingles?
The roof shingles or still the
Siding.
We're going to do, sheer shingles, where there's going to be.
Cedar shingle or clapboard? Because I think that you might have an opportunity to mix it a little bit, to push these things apart. Or maybe the main body of the, see if you,
Then we would have to go to,
no, just go with either a straight clapper between them and then have the shingle on the base. In some way, again, it's just it's wallpaper. I mean, I know that's digital wallpaper right now. But if you have those back pieces, the body of the house, say between the towers, whatever, yeah, back in there, and have it between, well, again, if you look at the houses, and the second thing is, if you look at these things, they'll always have like secondary scales that come into them. Even the houses on Main Street have it, where they'll have they'll have scalloped shingles, and then they go along, and it starts to put that craft into them. And I don't think your intention is to leave them cedar colored, right? You want them to change color to whatever the color is.
I don't know if he's thinking of changing them from unit, I mean, building.
No. I'm not talking about unit to unit.
It's going to be a solid stain.
I'm not going to be a unit to unit, but I'm saying maybe there's a little bit of subtlety to that. Where you, I don't know if you've been here for the discussion on 116 Main, but they're trying to work through sort of subtle changes in color. Between like a mustard yellow and this, I'm not saying this is yellow, I'm just saying subtle changes in color between, say, a darker to a lighter of the same color, hue.
We can add some material relief.
Yeah.
We can do.
I think you're not to my mind, you're not helping yourself with the pattern, which I know is just the wallpaper rendering of this, because it just looks like looks like wallpaper. And that shingle quality to it will help you go a long way. Because you've talked about it being a shingle style, you're inspired by that. Let's bring it home, show those sort of details, put it into it, and maybe mix it up a little bit.
We can do that with the final.
Yeah. And then the eave itself, I'd really look at because I liked it here when I saw it sort of was heavy. I'm not sure about the radius, but I'm going to defer to you all on that. But a big panel on the end gives it great figure.
Okay.
And then I would say, you ready for this, is some eyelets on, if you're going to have a big roof like that, you might want to put some eyelets on it. Yeah, well, maybe just the main one, and it's vent, and it's just something to break up that, if it's that high.
Okay.
Speak to what this is. That is that's the portable unit up top.
Okay, so this is, you actually have two here, and the back is the front of the other.
No, the bottom is 2, the top is 2.
Oh, okay, yes. And the entry,
You have a door in front there.
this and this?
Yes.
And this is
And
like
then
general,
no,
okay.
that's the door inside.
Two side go in here, and then this goes
Ground
upstairs?
floor unit, yes.
Where does that appear?
It's the lower level.
I'm going to help you out. Do it 2/1. It's very village. Yeah, look around, walk the blocks, you'll see that. I mean, not on that, on this one.
You mean instead of 401?
Yeah, it's, the village is too,
The windows.
and the same thing here, you can put some relief inside the dorm. You might need a vent.
You certainly would. If this is, I don't know how much of that is attic, but I think it's a fair portion of it. Just don't know how they're gonna help you out.
I think our main concern is that it's just starting to repeat itself across the whole property.
Well, that's what you're trying to do when you do this multi.
Yep. Yeah, I know.
Units. You don't want so many different units.
I don't think we're talking about different.
Because of the fact is that they're gonna be so close together, you don't wanna make yourself dizzy and look at so many different ones. And that's what
I
we're
was
trying to
never
do.
busy in my neighborhood.
You're just busy in general.
Yeah.
So that's what I say, it's like when you go.
I
like
lived on a hill on
Richmond Hill,
yeah.
and that's what we tried to, that's what they made us focus on, like Richmond Hill,
Mhm.
you know.
So what's the stone that you're thinking for the chimneys?
I have a feeling we're not going to use this stuff,
Okay.
to be honest with you. I think we're going to just go.
Grab that shingle style book, you'll find all those beautiful tricks in it.
I love the pattern you did on the one brick chimney, and I agree, I think the brick is nicer than the stone.
Thank you.
I agree. Yeah, and I also agree with Ken's comment about the spelling of the brick on those.
Do any of them have the potential for porch area? Is that ever a discussion?
In the rear.
On the rear, I know that on the rear. There, balcony.
And we have these are all at grade. All of them are at grade, so they're gonna have patios.
Well, I like the color.
So we have to be very careful, we're limited for coverage.
Right, I know if it's a porch, it's coverage, yes.
You should tell
So
me.
they'll have patio areas that you see on the site plan.
Looking forward to it. I'm not getting the copper up on top.
Okay, well, it appears that we both have to do a little homework, figuring out how we're going to get around our charge, but I'm sure it's manageable. I'm not overly concerned about it, but I think, I'm glad we had this opportunity to discuss this one,
We
because
discussed it like he mentioned, and if we
And
can, I apologize.
No.
How we have the two rears different, if we want to carry that on to the front, you know,
we still need to do homework on the fact that there are, what, how many of those? You know,
there's, how many buildings we have?
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Where's the triple? The triple's this? No, that's the quadruple. The triple's here.
No, on that side.
Exactly that.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
2, 4, 6, 8, 9, no? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is the four. This is the four.
So 9 buildings.
Okay.
So if you do 2 of them, 2 styles, so it'd be 1, 4, you know, and 1, 5.
And how many square feet are the doubles, just approximately?
They're about 2,800 square feet each side.
Wow.
And the triple?
So the 2 outsides would be 28 each, and the center would be probably, I think it's 2,400 square feet essentially.
We're gonna also have something to say. I know that there's an issue
Brick wall.
on the, well, there's a fence that they're set on top of the wall to be the same height as the rest of the fence.
There's a fence there already.
Right, and then, but there's also
On top
a
of the
stone wall.
On top of that stone wall, there's a fence.
Oh, it's there already? So it's not that you're proposing to do that, it's there already?
Right, that stone wall, you see it when you're looking up from the aqueduct.
Right.
You see a stone wall. On that stone wall is a fence.
No, right, right here. That's
But only
already
on
there.
this end?
Only on the,
Only on this end, right?
north side, right.
Yeah, that's only on the north side, correct. But that fence is at the same level as this brick wall.
Right.
Everybody thought we were
Good
gonna.
fences.
And a
good
stone
name.
wall.
Yeah, I know, it made a lot of people nervous.
Right, but it's not, that wasn't the case, no. And there's gonna be no fence on top of the brick wall. The brick wall stays as is.
And out of curiosity, how many of these are you suggesting will have a view of the Hudson River?
How many?
Just for perspective of what we're,
Along the west side, I would say that the 7 units along the west would have a view, you know, and I don't know if.
meaning you'll be able to see them from the Hudson River as well. That would,
They haven't
if-
seen
No,
no.
On the Hudson River look at this.
Yeah, just curious how high it'll be. Well, yeah, I can see Field Point easy enough, so just curious. So these, so I can, because I've been down there and looked up. So, but, so these 7, you'll be able to see
I don't think
them.
the river you can see up, I think from here you can see down. I just think the way, everything, the way the units off of Main Street are.
Have you taken the house down yet, or?
No.
Okay.
Oh, that, no, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you say.
So it would be helpful, just for me, I'm a neighbor on the aqueduct.
Sure.
If you had the height of the house, the existing house, and the height of this.
Oh, existing house is probably 60 feet high.
Mhm.
It's enormous.
And
They
how
actually do
high
have-
are these?
On their PowerPoint, they actually do have views from the aqueduct.
Great.
Yeah, and we can bring that in.
Yep.
We can bring that in. Like, this is just preliminary because you haven't seen it before. I know you've been at all the meetings,
Just
you're
about.
very familiar with it. This is just, you know. what it's
I'm actually
gonna look like.
confused by the fact that I've been to all the meetings and it's changed, so it's evolved. And it's hard to remember, you
And
know.
if you notice, we're spending a lot of time on architectural.
Yeah.
John does art.
About how high are these, Joe?
These are code. I think this is 32.
No,
These are 32 feet, I think. No more than the code is 35.
right, we're under 35 feet.
Yes.
But in some cases, there are certain site conditions where above grade, they will come across less than that. Because if this is a natural grade and this is a fill line, we get measured from natural grade to that.
Are there any grade changes that you're making before you start building these, or?
No.
So it's,
We're
it is,
trying to level out the site. So as you're coming around the roadway, the road will only be like a 2-foot distance from north to south.
Did you hear the comment before, but you can't go around the loop without going?
that was my comment.
That was your comment.
Yeah. If you go past, say you want to go visit these people, and you go past,
They made it one way.
I know, and that's fine. How do you go back? You can't.
Huh?
You're gonna have to go this way.
Well, that's the way the village.
I know, but it's, and I've told the village that, guys,
We're real.
if I'm, if I'm visiting someone here, and I make a mistake and go past, because it's a one-way, I can't go back.
Yes, I looked at that, and we're gonna probably have to, a little section right there.
Yep.
Right there, make it
Not a
all
pass-through.
asphalt.
I mean, Ed told me that this is not an island, it's just paved, but still, try to have a delivery truck, try to make that turn. And not only that, when he comes all the way back out, how's he gonna turn? He's gotta go down here and do that, I just,
You're right.
I just didn't, I know you've given it thought, I didn't know whether.
We changed that pattern.
Too many times, yeah.
Just had a couple of questions. I really appreciate you adding the more clapboard because to me, I think it's a beautiful rendering, but so much shake on the buildings give me a little bit of a beachy feel or, sort of a Greenwich, Connecticut as opposed to Irvington. I just wondered, is there any accommodation for guest parking? And I know this really isn't exactly in our
Yes.
purview, but. Yeah, I was just trying to see
We
where it
have,
was.
6 spots here.
Oh, okay,
You have one there, one spot there, there's 9 spots.
okay. So you've tried to accommodate this.
Yes, we had to give 9 spots. We have
Yeah.
one there. Okay, you can see all of them. One there, 6, 7, 8.
So you took down the weekend. Okay.
Where have we- is that it? There's 9 visitor spots.
All right, anybody else, any other questions?
I appreciate the preview.
Like I said, we'll, I know some of us have been following it all the way along. We will continue, obviously, to do so, and when it comes to, coming back to us, I'm sure you'll, take to heart what we've commented on, and I'm sure it'll be a quick meeting.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, thanks, guys.
Thank
Good luck.
What else do I have?
Have a nice night.
Well, you too.
Nope, I don't have it. That's the historic, what stage is it at, the historic?
Can I just ask one question before I move on? So my question to Ken was, I mean, when I look at this,
Yeah.
it's a much simpler.
It's fine.
Yeah, I'm
Yep.
just curious though. This is a much simpler design,
Yep.
obviously. These sharp peaks, did that strike you as maybe not peaking?
It did, I've seen it,
I have to say, is that
but
still?
it's still like,
I gotta tell you, a lot of it was driven by planning.
Yeah, I mean, is it something that could be softened? So that I didn't want to ask
well,
because I don't.
what
know
I was
if it's
talking
appropriate.
about wasn't clear, was construction. This looks like, what's it called, at the bridge. This looks like.
Oh, the key?
Right?
You talking about sitting up above the?
Yeah.
Yeah, the key.
The key.
Queen, Quang.
K, the K.
QUAY.
QUAY, the quay. So it looks like that, right? Oh, not the quay up in Tarrytown.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I'm talking about in Orange, in Irvington, right by, at the corner of Bridge
You
and.
mean like the boathouse?
The boathouse?
The boathouse?
Oh, no, River, the condos.
Oh,
River.
yes, the condos, right.
So that's all that, and it has a
Right,
sort of feel like that,
Right.
simple.
So from this standpoint, you're right, it does
Right.
look like something.
This is just cheesy, and, so that's just a little, I hope they,
I like the other door gauge.
right? But then here, if this was, I was like looking at this going, God, what a funky stone that they picked,
I
or
thought,
bricks.
I thought it was too
So
brick at
he's not
first.
doing himself any disservice.
Mhm.
This is, and it's just wallpaper, and that's where, that's where when you go over to the one in Dobbs Ferry, the landing, and you see all sorts of detail going along, which is breaking up the scale of it, and you see sometimes it's vertically patterned, and that's part of the shingle style. It was sort of shingle style Queen Anne. And these chimneys, it looks like a Pizza Hut.
Yes.
Or whatever that restaurant is we all used to go to Chuck Wagon or whatever.
Have you brought up looking at the landing as a reference point? I mean,
No, I didn't.
the Richmond Hill, and Harriman Keep kept coming out, so
Yeah.
I think it's a good reference.
So, I think we were all in agreement this is not consistent with the village and it's too much detail and too much mixed material. This, I didn't know how to describe though. Is that something that we should try to get into?
Well, it's inconsistent. If you look at the elevations, this is set back. So this, I thought he was taking his inspiration from the house.
So
that
did
we
I.
know.
That's why I kept looking at this, but I didn't get that at the end. He didn't say that.
I really, yeah.
Like a downing detail or something would be
No,
much more
this has this
straightforward.
character. It's
But
built
this one
like,
kind of has a,
yeah, well, that's what they want.
maybe it's like,
It's not curved, it's straight.
right, that's what I
And here
mean.
you see the
And
ridge is
this
higher,
guy
but
like-
it's not higher by whatever that elevation was. It was like 30 feet higher. I think it's just his rendering is
Yeah,
nothing.
that doesn't bother me so much.
And I think you have to have a conversation, okay, what are the colors that he's doing? Because he's saying it's a fixed color forever, which is okay, just have to have a dialogue with the color. And these trim pieces are kind of clumsy. That's what I was asking for. This is alien.
To the rest of it.
Yeah. And this is something else altogether. Maybe this is glass, maybe it's got a, it just seems bad to.
But it's not.
So where are they on the site plan? That's the bigger issue. This is excellent point, excellent point. How big are those footprints? These are 5,000 square foot houses that are packed together.
Which, they've already passed that.
I know, we can't,
They're already past that by several leaps and
there's
bounds.
to the landing, it's amazing. That's why I asked about the parking, because that is so much, you just get a more luxurious feeling.
And just so you
driving
know,
in there.
they're losing the space for parking here because of the sight lines coming in and out of here with the fact that, and the way
Where's
that
the parking stops at the corner?
it's from here back, the 7 spaces, you see them?
Yep, they stay.
No, they're gone
Why? Because they need it.
because of the sight lines. The sight lines coming out of here.
Oh, this is where the divide is.
Well, yeah,
So does he know this?
Who?
The corner restaurants and the tavern and
Oh, yeah.
everything?
Well,
You're losing
no,
them on- you're
they're
losing
not
them on
losing,
the
here's the
street.
thing, you're losing them on the street. What they're gonna do, the municipal lot that's up across from there?
Yeah.
Well, you know how when you go in the right, they're all lined up like that, and then it's just, they're linear that way? They're gonna cut into the wall and make them,
Okay.
So,
So
the
that
same
goes to the other
angle.
thing. Whatever he does, this we have to hold, I don't want to say get to the flame, but really, you should walk it and say, so
If
I
there's,
they didn't consider the garage, have you had sort
No,
of
that's
gone
a little-
through a whole
that's just a
plan
big-
about how they
they're
might
big
be able to make that a
Yeah,
two-bedroom.
exactly, they're reactive.
And we're not in
Yeah.
charge of the choice of the affordable housing, but we should, that's not our.
Well, they'll have,
Yeah.
speak to the architectural,
Yeah.
issues, yeah. All right, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So motion. Second, all in favor?
Second.
Okay. Before you leave, I have one question.